When he was put into the starting lineup, LaMelo took his game to a different level.
He made winning plays. He helped win them games.
Really quick, before I begin, if you guys can smash the like button for the YouTube algorithm, this seriously makes a huge difference to my videos and lets YouTube know to recommend this video to a brand new audience. So thank you so much for doing that, and let's begin.
LaMelo Ball's the guy that gave me the most joy throughout the entire season. You look at what he did before the injury, those efficiency numbers are very good for a rookie coming into the league. You look at him shooting 45% from the field, almost 38% from three. He averaged 16 points, 6 rebounds, 6 assists. Even the free throw percentage, he was shooting 3 attempts per game. I think that goes up next season, but 3 attempts per game, it's not bad for a rookie to come in, try to be aggressive, and he shot 79% from the free throw line before the injury. The injury, when he came back, the efficiency numbers went down. The counting stats were kind of the same, but the efficiency numbers went down. And so if you want to have that be a part of the conclusion at the end of the season, then understandable. But LaMelo was just so fun to watch. He had such a big impact on the game. But one aspect of LaMelo's game is how quickly he learns. And I think one of the ways you could tell that was at the very beginning of the season. And I mean, first game to second game to third and fourth. It was as bad of a debut as you could ask for LaMelo.
Yeah, it was.
0 for 5 from the field, played 16 minutes. He had a goose egg in the points column. He was 0 for 3 from three-point line. He was 0 for 5 from the field, as we mentioned. Only had 3 assists, but he also had 3 turnovers. He had a couple of steals, okay. But it was a bad debut, and it was a really bad debut for the Hornets also, who lost to the Cleveland Cavaliers. They were getting destroyed. They bring it back to within 7, but that was even misleading. It was not that close until Terry caught flames just to even give them some glimpse of hope. And then the second game, he comes out against Oklahoma City, and he shoots 50% from the field. He goes 5 of 10, hits a couple of three-pointers, grabs 5 rebounds, only the 1 assist, but only 2 turnovers also, so 13 points. And then the first big game that he kind of has is the 22-pointer against Dallas, where he plays 30 minutes, 7 of 10 from the field, 4 of 5 from three-point range, 8 rebounds, 5 assists, only a couple of turnovers. So that was the first one where we're like, okay, there we go. There's the ability from LaMelo. I thought one of the things that he picked up pretty quickly, maybe within like the first 10 games, LaMelo would drive, and then he would leave the floor early, and maybe not even early. He would just try to force something. He would leave the floor, and then on his way down, he still hasn't quite figured out what he wanted to do at the basket, and it might be a turnover or a really tough pass that was ill-advised, or the possession would come up empty, but you could see what he was thinking. It's like, all right, he leaves the floor, there's a cutting Miles, or he's trying to set up Cody, and it wasn't quite there, wasn't delivered well enough, and I thought he got that figured out for the most part as the season went on, or at least gotten better, right? Like, it's not like he was 100% great at it, but I thought that was one of the better things that you could see. That was a problem very early on, and I thought pretty quickly he started to fix that. I thought that was one of the more easy things to notice when LaMelo is soaking all of this knowledge up, having the ability to quickly learn from his mistakes, and it's something James Borrego talked about so much. LaMelo learned so quickly. He's such a basketball savant, so smart at playing the game, and I thought that was something that was pretty noticeable early on.
Exactly. You just pointed it out. You nailed what I was going to say is essentially LaMelo figured all of this out on the fly. I think we sometimes we lose fact of LaMelo really only had 2 weeks of camp. Normally rookies get summer league, they get that first training camp, then they get a lot more they get a lot more preseason time, almost 3 weeks of preseason time, and then it's ready to go. He learned a lot of this stuff on the fly, and he basically was slowly spoon-fed for the better part of a month and a half, and then it was, okay, let's unleash this kid because of necessity almost. And once he was fully unleashed, what he did in terms of experimentation, in terms of basically being an old soul at the game. Like, you hear stuff that he says, like, I remember what he said to Ernie Johnson and Charles Barkley and everything. Like, he would be watching tapes of Pistol Pete and Magic Johnson and everybody else. And the fact that his recall is so good, it's just one of those things where he took, okay, I can do this, I can't do this. And the I can't do this stuff, as far as the season went on, just started shrinking and shrinking and shrinking to the point where, oh my God, this kid can almost do everything. I just think about some of the heady plays. Like, we should have known something the minute he made Bismack Biyombo a viable weapon on offense for about a good 3 weeks. Like, he would hit I'm saying he would hit him in the one place that Bismack Biyombo wouldn't fumble the ball. Somehow, LaMelo Ball managed to unlock something that no other point guard in the history of basketball managed to do. And that's unlock Bismack Biyombo for easy dunks, this, that, and the third. And it worked for quite a while. It made you think, hey, maybe Biz is the one turning the corner. No, it was LaMelo. LaMelo unlocking and making a guy like that viable, so it's not necessarily 4-on-5 when you played him. He just made things easier for everybody as he went along, and then the scoring touch started finally hitting. And when that hit, I just continually think, oh my God, there is no limit for this kid. I still think, oh my God, there is no limit for this kid, despite the fact of the injury, which we'll talk about later on, because clearly that affected how he played, and we've dug into that before. But the only thing that you ever worry about with this kid is if that shot doesn't fall, what is he going to do? And when I say worry, I mean slightly be concerned, because he's smart enough to figure out how to operate even if his shot isn't falling. And I'm not worried about the shot nearly as much as probably anyone else is. But to say that he's a savant, I think we're underplaying it somewhat. And I don't know how to do that. How we're saying this kid's a savant, this kid may be the smartest ball player to ever play the game or whatever. But he knows where he is, he knows where to be, and it's almost like he's time traveling at times sometimes with the way he makes
So we've
plays.
mentioned the numbers before he got injured and how good they were as a rookie, and Nata, they got even better once he was asked to start because they had some injuries. Devontae Graham was banged up. Terry Rozier. I don't know about Terry Rozier. I forget about that middle part of the season. I know they only missed a couple of games. But either way, they put LaMelo into the starting lineup after a couple of great games to finish out January. So there were 2 games in a row, January 29th and January 30th, against Indiana and against Milwaukee. He scores 16 points and 27 points. He does that on 7 of 13, then 8 of 10 shooting. He contributes in the rebound department, also in the assist department, has 5 steals in those 2 games, and it's like, all right, he's starting to cook. He gets put into the starting lineup that game against Miami February 1st. So from February 1st to March 20th, he started 21 games, and that was before the injury took place. The last one that he started was the Clippers game where he had the wrist fracture. In those 21 games that he started, he averaged 19.5 points per game on 46% shooting. How about this? 42.6% from 3 on 6 attempts per game. He shot 81.1% from the free throw line, all while continuing to average 6 assists and 6 rebounds. He did the free throw shooting numbers on 3.5 attempts per game, and I think that's going to go up. I think LaMelo, once he starts to get some strength, starts to attack, learns the game more, I think the free throw attempts are going to go up, which only is going to enhance his game. But Nata, when he was put into the starting lineup, LaMelo took his game to a different level even then. I mean, you talk about impressive numbers for a rookie. That stat line is pretty bonkers,
Exactly.
right? Until he gets, it's a bonkers stat line for him to come in and contribute that way, playing against the better players in the NBA. This is not him stat padding against the second stringers where he's clearly more talented, but he's got to figure some things out, and so he's doing it against the backups. No, he's starting right out of the gate, and also he's doing it with the craziest passes you've ever seen in a Hornets uniform.
that was. I think that was the thing. Like, he was making winning plays off the bench. He made even more winning plays and unlocked more guys the minute he became a starter. And I think that's where I knew he was special, like, because I just remember me and you being those that are like, yo, we're fine with LaMelo dropping to 3. I was like, we were one of some of the first LaMelo Ball believers, but I think it would be crazy. I don't think it's like completely out of school to say, you know, we didn't expect this from him starting day one, because this was an established. Like, the crazy thing is, I don't think people realize that Devontae Graham had a pretty good year and is a pretty good guard. Terry Rozier is a really, really good guard and was especially good this season. For him to crack that lineup was never going to be the simplest task. And people were trying to make it look like it was going to be this easy task, and it wasn't. The fact that he did it, and then he continued to just take his game to another level. Think about the Phoenix games, where, granted, Malik Monk had a bigger effect in the first half, but that second half was a masterclass by LaMelo Ball. Like, taking guys off the dribble, like finding the switches that he would punish. That kind of stuff, that's veteran stuff. That's not necessarily, oh my God, I'm a rookie. Like, he made winning plays. He helped win them games. He managed to withstand some of the physicality in those Miami Heat games. Like, there's that. There's the, which one is it? The Milwaukee Bucks game, where the Milwaukee Bucks didn't look like they belonged on the same floor as the Charlotte Hornets for 2 games this year, and LaMelo Ball had a decent portion to do with a bunch of it. Like, he took his game to a level I don't think anyone realistically expected this year. And I think when we talk about LaMelo as a starter, that stretch that you're mentioning is one of the biggest reasons why you should feel confident about what he's going to do next year.
Nata, you talked about the shot and maybe how that might be a concern for some people moving forward. Yeah, no, I'm not one that has... Well, you're not one of them. I'm not one that has cemented his shooting ability as being all the way real. You know, this is, I feel good enough about it. I certainly feel a lot better than I did pre-draft. I was scared. Look, like, when we talk about where we were on LaMelo entering the draft, I think most people knew. I tweeted it out. I always thought he was a really good fit, right? Even despite us having Rozier, Monk, and Graham, having a big guard that facilitates, I always thought that was going to be an excellent fit. I tweeted that out on draft night. I was excited about the popcorn plays. That was always going to be fun. His skill set as a defender, I mean, at least the potential, right? Just having the long body, being smart enough to anticipate. I always liked him fine enough as a prospect. I just thought the concerns were really there. It scared me enough. And it might have made me panic enough to, if the right offer was on the table, trade down. Then I was certainly a fan of exploring that. But yeah, I mean, clearly, bleep that. Like, yeah, that was stupid. Yeah, LaMelo's awesome. The shooting ability, though, Nata, I think this is probably where we're going to be with him. 35 to 37. Maybe there's a down year here and there where he goes 34. I think that's probably where you're going to be in the shooting range from distance with LaMelo Ball. I do think he gets to the free throw line a lot more. Like, I expect that 3.2 attempts per game this season to go up. I expect him to be a better finisher at the rim as he continues his journey in the NBA. But the shooting numbers, like, I don't expect them to get a ton better from distance from what they were here. Do you think that's fair? What do you expect his shooting to be in the future?
I think you're right. And I think even if he shoots 33, 34% from 3, I'm not sure it matters, because he's only going to get bigger. He's going to get stronger. He's going to get more calls. That's going to offset any sort of, again, you got to remember that when it comes to the NBA, it's about, can my unicorns slay your dragons? And at this point, LaMelo Ball is a unicorn. I'm sorry. Like, can his matchup problems just disrupt a whole lot of other stuff? And at this point, he's going to disrupt a lot of stuff, because he's only going to get bigger in terms of bulk, and you're not going to be able to move him. And then on top of that, he's still smarter than you, most likely. So he's going to know the right play 2-3 plays ahead, and there are very few people in the league that you can say do that. So it's now just about, that's why I'm not worried about the shot. If it becomes a point where he doesn't have the burst to get to the hole as quickly, okay, yeah, I can see that being a problem. But for right now, I'm not worried about the jump shot. The jump shot can stay exactly the same on more attempts, like you're saying, and I'm still not worried. He's got to take like a sub 30% dip from 3 for me to be like, okay, this is a concern. Because for what he does, for the matchup nightmare that he presents right now, I'm not worried. He can do what he can do. And we'll just leave it at that.